Hello everyone, Sire here. Thank you so much for joining me for a Kendra card challenge super sponsor hop with Pink and Main. They were kind enough to send me some of these products that I'm showing you right now, such as the Rainbow Swirls pattern paper, so that I could play with it and with the Kendra card challenge, and as well hopefully get their products out to people like you who may be interested in checking it out. They also are a sponsor for the Kendra card challenge itself, which means that if you join in and create 15 cards and you submit them, you have a chance of winning a prize from them. So lots of winning and fun to be had with Kendra card challenge. Next, we also have the Fast Lane stamp set that I'm going to be playing with, and this comes with a bunch of different characters like the shark, the pig, the bear, the bunny, and the unicorn, and then the car there. So what you can do is you can cut each of these out and then place them on top so it looks like they're driving. And then I have the rainbow slide die. This will cut out each color or each strip in its own color if you wish. But for my card, which I'm going to be doing sketch number 5, I just cut it in black glitter cardstock. And the only reason I did that instead of using a rainbow color is because the background is going to be so colorful that I didn't want to add more colors to this, and the chances of me finding cardstock that matched that paper color to a T was not going to happen. That's too many colors, and so sticking to a black neutral color is definitely the way I wanted to go. And that goes for this strip across the bottom as well. And I did a very dark gray, almost a granite color, and then I found this chevron stencil that I'm using black ink on top, and the reason I did this is to make it look like tire tracks that this car is going to be going across. You don't need to do this. You can keep it nice and blank. You could just ink it a little bit like I'm doing right now, but this does add a little bit more dimension, more texture to the card. The reason that I'm adding my black around the whole edge is to diffuse the sharpness of the gray and then the black ink. I want to make sure that it's more soft and not as noticeable as the rest of the card is going to be. Okay, next thing we're going to be working on is the rainbow slide. This is just essentially a road, and what I'm going to be doing is gluing this to vellum so that I have something to glue easily onto the card, because I'm going to be positioning it without all these pieces going all over the place. The other reason is because the background is so bold, so bright and vivid and busy, I'm going to be using a border around my slide with vellum so that it will diffuse the background a bit, so that it's like a transition between the background and then this slide. So you'll see it when I place it all down, and I'm using a big sheet because I do not want to miss anything. I want to make sure that I have an equal border around everything because I don't know how I'm going to position it. The reason I don't know how to position it is because if you look at the sketch, you see that there is a circle. I believe it's 3.5-inch circle that needs to go there. This has an arch in it that I'm going to be using as my circle, so I want the hump of this slide to kind of be in that center area. It won't be perfectly centered because the one side is longer than the other. So what I will do is just, once again, put a border around the edge of the whole thing. I will then position it in place and then glue it down. I'll know exactly where I can trim, and making sure I also have a perfect border around the whole thing when I'm done. So there we go, just going very carefully around. I'm just eyeballing this. You don't need to make it perfect or anything. Just trying to keep about 1/4 inch around the whole shape. Most of it will be cut off, but that is okay. As long as we have it, then we don't have to worry about trying to put it in a position that we don't want. So there we go. So once that is done, then we can start putting all this card together. Oh, I guess, so first we need to do is put our banners. So if you look on that sketch there, right in the middle right-hand side, there are 2 banners. So if you're following your cut guide, then you would have 3 pieces of paper here. So the pink bar in the middle would be paper B, and then you would have paper C as the small banner that I'm going to be cutting right now, and then paper D is the longer one. I used the different paper from the paper pack to make this card. So I actually cut up one of the sheets and I used that as my two different banners on the side there. So the reason I did that was because I'm only working on one card. If you're doing all 15, then you would be working with your 6 different pieces of pattern paper and you'd be working with the correct ones following the guide. But in the end, you're going to be creating a sketch that looks similar to this, making it your own if you wish, or following it exactly to the T. I'm going to be following the banners at least on this, and I will bring in a piece of white cardstock because as I was creating this, I realized there is a border in the sketch behind, or a matte layer behind that pink strip that goes all the way across. So I'm just going to cut a piece of white cardstock that measures about 5.5 by 1.5 inches. And I believe it says right in the sketch there, that's what you're going to do. Okay, now let's position this so that we can kind of get this up. I want to show as much of this as possible and cut at the minimal. But I also want to make sure that there is no gap on on the left or the right bottom side. So I need to make sure that those black bands cover both corners. So that's what I'm playing with right now. And then I'm going to bring in my car and my little piggy, which I color these off camera. I did record it, but I figured it was just going to be too long to watch me color these images. So I cut that out of the video. And I'm just going to place everything on this card to see what it looks like so I can get an idea of how it's going to be positioned. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get my glue and start assembling this card. And I'm just going to make sure that I glue only on the cardstock and not where the vellum is. Otherwise you will see the glue when you glue this down. But what you can see now is that there's a diffuse between the background and that vellum, right? You're making it softer, so there's a nice transition. It's not a very abrupt transition. And the reason I'm doing that is because the background is extremely busy. So if you are going from one busyness to even just black glitter cardstock, it's going to be very hard on the eyes because it's just such a harsh line. I'm not saying that it's always going to look bad. It might actually look good, but this helps ease the eye into something so different. It's very similar to adding the white border to the back of this banner here or this panel that I'm putting down. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of cardstock. I add the cardstock to areas like this so that there is no sagging. You just kind of want to make sure that your whole card piece is flush when you're gluing it down. This is definitely going to make it so that everything seems more polished. It's going to help it so that you don't see any bending or curving from all the different elements because everything is going to be nice and flush if you just add those little pieces. I recommend to do that with anything that is flimsier. If you're using something that has a lot of thickness to it, then you don't need to worry about it too much. Now I'm going to take my piggy and I'm going to put him in the cart. I did put it a little bit lower than I needed to, but I just thought it was really cute with his head high and driving with such ease and confidence. It's such a cute little image there, and I had a lot of fun coloring these, and I can't wait to play around with the other shapes that are there as well. And I'm going to place that down, just filling that left side of the card there. You may have noticed that the image did sag a bit. It was very quick, but that was a good example of why I want to put some cardstock behind. This probably could actually use 2 pieces of cardstock because that glitter cardstock is pretty thick, but I'm just going to do one. I don't want to overdo it, and that just makes it, as you can see, it's just nice and flush. I did not want to add a sentiment to the front of this card. I thought it was a little too busy, and trying to bring in even more is just not what I want to do. I don't want to take away too much of this. It's already quite busy with a lot of colors. So I'm going to take the sentiment that says live life in the fast lane. I'm just going to stamp that right in the center of the card so that there's something to read on the inside. So while I'm doing this, I will just say that if you're following along, there is a chance of winning a digital prize from Cards by Kendra, and all the information will be in the description box below. I do hope that you take the time to check out all the other design team members who are playing along using Pink and Main products to get inspiration and see what you can create with the sketches. So there we go. This is the card that I created using sketch number 5 as my inspiration. I do hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun making this, and don't forget to check out what the other design team members have created as well using Pink and Main. I would like to end with saying that Kendra Card Challenge is free. All you have to do is sign up on Patreon for a free membership, so you do not need to pay for anything, and then you can join in. Follow the sketches, create your cards, submit them to the Facebook group, and you can win one of many, 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 many prizes. So definitely worth a shot, and it's a lot of fun. So I hope to see you around. I hope you have a lot of fun with this challenge, and until the next time, have a wonderful, beautiful day. Take care. Bye.